Everybody joining us today. Been a little while since got to see everybody. So I hope everybody's safe and doing well. Obviously, National Signing Day. Now I believe, what is it, the fourth year where we have both an early signing day and a second signing day. But another day that's it seems like it happens every year now. You know, they become more and more historical, and this certainly was no different than the past couple of years. A special thanks to every member of this organization, especially our football coaches, our assistant coaches, our support staff, graphics, editing department, the players who are the best ambassadors to the program, the guys that just do it on the field and in the classroom, and just serve as just great examples for our prospects out there. But the amount of effort poured into this, and in a year where obviously we were all affected by the pandemic, to put together a class like this, just been awesome. So, but it just, what can I say? I mean, it's widely regarded as the best class in our history. You know, we'll find out in the field, right, when it all plays out. But in terms of players in the country and some of the best players at every position, widely regarded as the best class in our history for the third consecutive year, having the top class in the Pac-12 conference, which is great because it leads to, you know, we'd like to have those consecutive type of accomplishments, like having a back-to-back Pac-12 championship. This is directly related to that talent acquisition. Our third straight top 10 class, the top player in 7 different states, which was huge for us. That was a huge priority for us, is to make sure that on the West Coast that we set out to get the best players in our respective areas. And so we got the best player in Oregon, Arizona, Utah, Nevada, Colorado, New York, and Nebraska. So major accomplishments there. Tremendous young men, awesome student athletes. 13 of them are on campus right now, expecting another one to come in for the spring term as well. 12 offensive signees, 11 defensive signees. I guess I could go on and on and on. You know, guys at the alpha dog in the Elite 11 and Ty Thompson, maybe the best quarterback in the country. A couple of 5 stars, and the number 1 offensive player in the state of California in Troy Franklin. Top receiver class and top tight end class in the country. Top 5 O-line class in the country. We mentioned the quarterback, arguably one of the best. 2 of the top 10 defensive backs in the country as well. I guess I'll stop there and open it up for questions, you know, but it gets a really exciting day. A lot of stuff accomplished. Still a little bit of room, you know, not exactly, you know, we have a little bit of room, and we're going to keep recruiting, and we'll polish off this class here in the very near future. But that being said, open to questions.
All right, Coach. First question goes to James Crepia from the Oregonian.
Mario mentioned obviously a lot of the individual accolades in terms of the players. Wanted to ask specifically about a receiver and corner. Going back roughly a year ago, you made changes on the staff at those 2 positions, and they were positions of immediate need. Can you speak to what Brian and Rod were able to do specifically at those positions under some extraordinarily unique and challenging circumstances to bring in the classes that they just did when you needed them to hit at that level?
No doubt, that's a great point. You know, Brian McClendon was not hired, I believe, until, was it March of last year? So actually he was hired via Zoom and worked via Zoom, and first started recruiting via Zoom. But I mean, he was, we had targeted him for a long, long time. His impact was significant. He immediately connected with guys that we had identified as top targets. He identified some other ones as well, and went to work with him together with the rest of the offensive and the entire staff. And he hit a home run. And I think Rod did a great job as well in a time where, being that we were going to have a significant amount of our defensive backs move on to the NFL or graduate, that we had to get at least 3 guys that could flat out cover, play man, off man, also were instinctive and physical enough to play the run, guys that could understand concepts. And we had to do a lot of this via Zoom, and that's difficult. But Rod also did a great job acquiring the right type of student athlete and great talent, what we feel is elite talent, to help us elevate the standard at both those positions. So really happy with those results.
Eric Scopel, 247 Sports.
Coach, I did want to ask about what you guys are able to do at the moment kind of what the plan is for spring ball. And then you mentioned the 13 on campus already. Kind of what have they been able to accomplish in the last month or so?
Well, this is probably the most important thing for us is the off season. Last year, we didn't have this. Or let me go back and say this. We had this portion of the off season last year, winter conditioning, and we began spring ball and actually got through practice number 4. Then after that, nothing was the same. And then the 6 weeks heading into the season last year, we didn't have our players on campus. So we never got our true off season work done. That's where we're at right now. We're in the middle of the winter conditioning program. In another week and a half, we'll transition over to the 4th quarter program. The freshmen are fully participating in everything that we're doing. We're not doing our football school portion of it yet, where we start having more meetings regarding scheme, positional, technical, and fundamental use and drills and all that stuff. But they are right now in full flow academic work, as well as all the stuff that we require our guys to do in the off season from a strength and conditioning standpoint.
Ryan Thorburn, register guard.
Mario, not only will you have this class coming in next year, but essentially last year's recruiting class, it'll kind of be like a do-over freshman year for them in a lot of ways. What's that going to be like to have this kind of super freshman influx on your roster coupled with the seniors coming back? Just, I mean, obviously it's unique to everyone, but what's that going to be like to have that many bodies?
Well, it's much needed. Number one, I think it's almost a reversal of what we experienced last year. Last year, you finish the Rose Bowl and you have some great seniors go on, move on, right? You have Justin Herbert and all those great offensive linemen, Drayton Kahlberg, Sione, Troy Dye, great players. But you were layered, you were structured to have a really good roster, a really good depth chart. But when the season was postponed and canceled, you lost some of your best seniors and your best juniors as well. Talk about NFL first round caliber guys. So it's the opposite of this year. Last year, we experienced essentially two classes being extracted from your program in one season. Now we get to have the benefit, like you mentioned, of having 2 freshman classes in one preseason. It's a monstrous advantage for us in terms of development, depth, competition. We certainly make sure that our guys understand how healthy and how welcome competition is in this program. It makes everybody better. Everybody gets excited in our program about recruiting. Our players understand that. I tell them all the time, when I was a player, Coach Jimmy Johnson and Coach Dennis Erickson, they used to find me all the time because I said, yes, I want to be around great players. I want to be around tough guys that work hard because I want to win a national championship. And so it's fun to know, and it's great to see that our team has a lot of guys like that as well, that want to be involved, that want to be an extension, of what we do from our recruiting efforts and great ambassadors to the program to help attract other great student athletes that fit our program.
Tyson Alger, The Athletic.
You guys have basically had the target on your backs for the last, basically since you came in on the recruiting trail in 3 consecutive Pac-12 crowns. You have members of your staff, former staff that are coaching at other schools now, trying to recruit against you guys. And even this year, the medium changed. It seemed like this year would maybe be the year that somebody else gets you guys because it's on Zoom. How challenging was it to keep that consistency this year? And now just over a 4-year period where you guys have had this level, does it get harder to sustain this, or does that kind of success keep that momentum going?
Well, I think our guys took it as a challenge. I think every year, 3 successive years, I guess the best way to put it is like this. We have an unbelievable place and an unbelievable program, and the trajectory is skyrocketing. So what happens is that every single year, a lot of teams, a lot of programs around the country, they want to come and they want to take a piece of Oregon back with them, and they want to implement stuff that we do, our blueprint and whatnot. And we're proud of that. We're proud of the fact that, people from here, they get head coaching jobs, they get coordinator jobs, they get opportunities to be on the field, move up and move on. And that's part of one of the best things about coming to Oregon. Whether you're a player, a coach, a GA, an analyst, you're going to have the opportunity to keep moving upwards. But every year you always, I think our guys see it as a challenge. Whenever there's a person leave here or there, it's like, oh, well, it's going to change now. It's like, well, No, we have a blueprint, and it's not just about one person. It's about everybody working together, and it's about everybody being part of the University of Oregon and this unbelievable athletic department and program and community. So I think it's awesome to see that the hard work is validated and surpassing the accomplishments of past recruiting classes, regardless of departures or new arrivals. We just gonna keep going on and getting stronger. And it's validated in what we're doing on the field. It's validated in what we're doing in the classroom and in the community and society. So we know we say it a lot, but when we say it, we mean it. We're not a video snapshot. We're not a false tagline. We're doing it, we're doing it for real. And I think we're just getting started. So
Matt Preem, 247 Sports.
Yeah, Mario, your running back room is pretty loaded as it is, and you've added now 2 more guys to that mix. I'm just curious, what do you like about Cardwell? And then I guess McGee maybe being able to play multiple positions for you as well. What would you like with him?
I think you said it perfectly right there. Seven could do a lot of things, and he could do a lot of things everywhere on the field, special teams, on offense, in the backfield, spread out wide. Cardwell he's a special talent, and he's a very large special talent, and adds a dimension to that backfield that we need speed and power combined. And he brings that to the table. And even though it makes our backfield stronger, adds a couple bodies, well, within a year, that running back room gets pretty thin in a hurry. And that's one position where durability is such a key factor. And over the past couple of years, you've seen as the season goes on, guys get worn down a little bit, they get nicked up, and we don't want that productivity to decline in any way, shape, or form. So we want to keep those guys fresh. We want to rotate them in there, make sure they have roles, make sure they have touches, and develop them. And we show them the picture a lot of our running back room back in the day at the other place I used to work at, and what those guys came in as and where they are now. And those guys could have easily not stuck together, but they did. They understood the importance of not only how you start, but how you finish. They understood the importance of having an offensive line and a scheme that allows them to maximize their talents, as opposed to a porous front that allows penetration and negative plays and shots in the backfield. So a lot goes into this. And when you have a guy like Coach Mastro coaching you up, I mean, you don't have enough time in the day or even the entire year to soak up all the knowledge, and the progress that you're going to gain from that is incredible. So all in all, we think it's a perfect match and a perfect mix.
Max Torres, Scoop Duck.
Mario, clearly you have a knack for this recruiting thing, former National Recruit of the Year and just dominating from the word go here in the Pac-12. What is it that you like about recruiting and, that process, getting elite talent?
Well, Saturdays are more fun, that's for sure. I thought my old boss summed it up best. He said, I like college football more than the NFL, because in the NFL, I have to wait in line to choose who's going to be on my team. And in college, I could go out and work hard to try to show those guys why we're the best place for them. And so I've been lucky. I've been at places that I've had strong belief in, especially now more than ever. And I think that I'm blessed to be surrounded by a staff that has the same beliefs, that we all know what we're sitting on, and we all know the level of commitment of this university and our administration as compared to the rest, especially on the West Coast. It's just a different level of commitment to the student athlete in terms of how we prepare, how we train, how we eat, the way we approach our academics and our academic support and all that stuff. So all those things combined with just a tremendous appetite to win, and to win the right way, and to get better. And for us, this is a way of life now. This is DNA, this is passion, this is everything. So it's tied into that. And also the part that gets lost in translation a bunch, which I wish they would change the rule about head coaches not being allowed on the road. Those are some of the best moments in my career, being able to go out there and meet the families, be around the parents, be around their society, their community, and get to know them inside and out. That's when the real relationships are formed. And that's where a lot of the great stories happen. So I miss that part, and certainly everyone missed that this year, not being able to be on the road, not being able to visit, your prospects and whatnot. But so it's probably one of those questions I didn't answer directly, right? Well, I hope there's an answer in there somewhere.
AJ Jacobson, Rivals.
Coach, like we've been talking about, another major infusion of talent here, and you have a history of playing guys early. I'm just wondering, where do you see this infusion, these new guys, these newcomers coming in and helping right away this coming season?
Well, I think you have to. I think, number one, they're more than talented enough to do so. They've been recruited for a reason because we feel that they can contribute right away. I think we're headed to a new day and age of college football as well. This with the transfer portal, one-time transfer rules, grad transfers, football being played all over the place, right? Canada, overseas. There's different ways to fill your roster, and there's different times of the year that can really affect the numbers and the balance of your roster. So that being said, I've always felt that football is a developmental sport, and you develop it, or you develop your young guys and develop your program through the growth of your players as they go through their 3, 4, and 5 year cycle. And now it's accelerated more than ever because I think that student athletes want to see the direction of their role sooner than later. So we make it a point to recruit guys in the areas that we feel that they're going to see a significant playing time early enough so that they can clearly see that, and they can just stay motivated to be prepared when the time comes, because for them, we feel it's going to come sooner than later.
Andrew Hobner, KZI.
Mario, you've said in the past how important it is as a head coach to kind of have that administrative support and that top-down approach where everyone's on the same page moving forward. I mean, could you just expand a little bit on, what this administration and what the U of O has been able to do so there are no training wheels, so to speak, when you guys are going out on the road and you can recruit at the level that you guys are recruiting at?
Sure. Well, this level, or this year, I should say, it was provided in the form of our laptops, because we were zoomed all over the world. It was certainly the most economically efficient year in terms of recruiting. But I think we all know the challenges that you face when you're on the road recruiting. I like to think of when, and I know a lot of those guys that we come across that I had a chance to coach with in the SEC, and we were taking jabs at each other because we had taken a flight to go see Noah Sewell at one place, and we had the other two guys go to the other place. But the one school, they had taken their jet and had stopped at both places within 4 hours. They had like this Van Halen Lear jet that they took. I don't know what it was, but it showed that people are realizing how important it is to stay at the forefront of recruitment, and that it does come with a commitment or whatnot. So we appreciate everything that the university does, the athletic department does, because without it, you have virtually no chance. You have to be able to bring in the right people, players, support staff, coaches, all that kind of stuff. And over here, it's understood, and just as much as it's understood, it's greatly appreciated.
James Crepio.
Mario, I wanted to get an update on several personnel, so I hope you brought a pen. But Randazzo, is he back now? Has there been a determination on Sampson, obviously off a very difficult personal situation there? And then CJ, Dante, LeDuc, Jonah, et al. I'm not going to go through all of them. Obviously, there's several others.
Oh, you're trying to go through all of them. That's for sure.
I could rattle off 5 more, but I don't want to get.
I know you can, and I'd love to get with you. The 2 things: number 1, I didn't bring a pen, and number 2, it is signing day. I'm definitely gonna have a conference where we go through all that stuff, because I know that's I know it makes you happy, and I just want to make sure that you are happy. But for today and our fan base and everything that goes on, I'd like to stick to the signing day stuff, if that's okay with you.
Fair enough. Then,
all right?
Then,
Okay.
fair enough. Then to the roster
I
manager.
see you got your virtual background there, or is that your house? You got something?
I wish I was in New Orleans. So the roster management component of it, your projected at 85 countable, but you have those super seniors to get to 93 and you do have flexibility. How do you go about managing a roster now in this COVID and post-COVID era of expanded rosters and what that may look like? And how does this get fixed for the recruiting cycles of 22 and 23 when there's going to be a pinch in the scholarship count?
I think with your level of knowledge and speculation, we just bring you in and hire you, and you could kind of figure it out for us. And that way you could just answer everything for the media. What do you think? Okay, so numbers, it's fluid because of what's going on around the country and the portal. I do know this. We did meet as conference coaches yesterday, and this is relative to your point, so I'm glad you asked this, is that this is a tough equation now. I mean, you could have teams sign as little as 3 players next year because you're supposed to go back to 85 in a year. So I know that there's another conference down south that has proposed legislation for an incremental decrease in the number of scholars to eventually get to 85 in about 3 years, right? So just kind of getting there, but understanding that, when we propose this rule in the extra year, it's hit or miss. It could be 50-50, it could be 70-20, 70-30. You don't know how it's going to affect each program. So they're trying to propose legislation that can be tabled and may be approved to help alleviate that. So I know that's not a direct answer, but there's so much that goes to this, and there's a lot of unknown, and it varies from program to program. It's being taken. People are taking a deep dive into it. How we're doing it in the meantime, we're really looking just at this next year as best we can, and a little bit into the following year, into 22. Past that, even trying to go to 22 is very difficult, trying to structure the roster and trying to project this guy might leave early as an NFL draft pick. This person, may exhaust eligibility earlier than others, and he might want to move on in life. There's a lot that goes into it. So, but we'll post it on the website so you can apply later this week.
Got time for a couple more. So we'll go to Ryan Thorburn.
Mario, I'll phrase this as a signing day question. You guys signed a new defensive coordinator recently. We had a chance to talk to Tim. Obviously, you competed against him. You knew his resume, but what was it about your interaction with him that made him the guy for the job?
That's fair. Borderline below the belt, but no, it's a signing day question for sure. Well, I think it starts with experience. So when you have experience against a certain coordinator, always that plays into it. But I think a couple of things. We were really good on defense in 2019, and we had some really good moments in 20. And then there were some areas where we had some setbacks in. And so really want to look at coordinators that had shown significant improvements in those areas. And stopping the run, some third down, some red zone stuff, third down efficiency, explosive plays, who had done a lot with, upon arrival and using the personnel using a scheme that suited the personnel as well. Having it done in different places, having complete knowledge from the front to the back end and being able to piece it all together. I think that's really important in terms of a coordinator. And I'm sure it was out there. We interviewed a fair amount of guys, talked to a ton, interviewed a fair amount. And what led myself to Tim DeRuyter was just exceptional teacher, really understands defensive football, front to back, disruptive defenses, forcing turnovers, experience at every level and every level of the defense as well, front to back. And I think when you have a guy like that could teach completely and has had that type of production and success and that knows this conference extremely well, we felt by far he was the best guy for the job. And he's had us extremely fired up, excited about him joining us. And in the short time he's been here, you could tell that this is not only the right fit, he's going to make us a whole lot better.
Last question, Eric Scopel, 247 Sports.
Talk about immediate contributions with Ty Thompson coming in. I know obviously a couple of returning quarterbacks who played a decent amount. Is the anticipation, the expectation that he'll be someone that could fight for reps this spring and into fall?
Yes. Yes, he's a very talented quarterback. We have a talented quarterback room. And certainly, I'm sure that'll be a storyline in the spring as we roll into it. And we have some guys that have really done a good job. A couple young guys that never really get mentioned, and Robbie and Jay, that have also done a really good job developing themselves. And I look forward to watching that battle and really structuring practice so that there's fair opportunity. But back to Ty. Yeah, Ty's an exceptional talent. Ty is a guy that doesn't come around very, very often. So the excitement around him is extremely high.
That's all the time we have for you, Coach. Thanks for your time.
All right, guys. Appreciate it. All right. Been a great day. And hopefully as the rest of spring plays out, we could have some more news. All right. Go Ducks. Stay safe.